Let's see how to get information about the system hardware and see what's inside your computer using the command line. There are many reasons you might need to find out details about your computer hardware. For example, you want to upgrade your system hardware or want to find out why some applications do not run as smoothly as you expect. In virtualized environments, the information displayed by these commands reflect the configuration of the guest operating system, which is typically different from the physical host system. So, for these examples, I'm gonna connect to a remote physical machine that runs Linux as the main OS using SSH. SSH-P, the port on which the SSH daemon is listening, the username, and the IP address of the SSH daemon. Okay, I'm in, and I'm temporarily becoming root in the terminal as these commands must be run as root. And I'm root. Let's take a look at the first command, which displays an overview of the system's hardware. I'm running lshw. This is a small tool to extract detailed information on the hardware configuration of the machine. It can report the exact memory configuration, the firmware version, mainboard configuration, CPU version and speed, cache configuration, bus speed, and many more. It displays a lot of output, so it's recommended to pipe it to less or redirect the output to a file. If you need the output in another format, like say JSON or HTML, just pass the -JSON or -HTML options. So -JSON. And the output will be in JSON format. JSON is a data exchange format used to exchange data between different applications and programming languages. And the HTML version. lshw -HTML. And I'm redirecting the output to a file. Let's say hw.html. Okay, this is the output file. It's HTML code. You can simply open the file using the browser. Very nice. Or if you are interested only in a summary of the hardware information on the system, pass the -short option. Another command which displays information about all hardware elements is inxi. And I run it using the -F and X options. Very nice. Note that this command is not available on all Linux distributions. Another useful command is lscpu. It displays information about the central processor unit and its architecture. To get the same information but in another format, run lshw -C CPU. To filter the output and view only the information you are interested in, pipe it to grep. For example, to only view the CPU's speed in megahertz, run lscpu pipe grep -I mhz. And to display the output in JSON format, run lscpu with the -J option. This is JSON format. Let's go ahead and see how to get all possible details about the computer's memory. To list all memory modules and their capacity, run the dmidecode command. And I'll pass the -T memory option to get only information about the memory. And if you want to see only the memory size, pipe the output to grep and search for size. Pipe grep -I, I'm searching insensitive size. There are two memory modules of this size. Or for the maximum memory you can install on the system, search for max. So the maximum capacity is 16 gigabytes. Keep in mind that dmidecode lists information about the RAM memory installed on the system. It's not displaying information about the amount of free or used memory of the running system. But you can always run top or free -m to see the amount of memory used or free. To list all PCI buses and details about the devices connected to them, like the VGA adapter, the graphic card, network adapter, USB ports, SATA controllers, and so on, run the lspci command. Of course, you can always filter the output using grep. For example, I want to see information only about the wireless card. So grep -I wireless or grep -I VGA. To list the USB controllers and details about the devices connected to them, run the lsusb command. For example, this Logitech is in fact an USB mouse, which is attached. And you can add the -V option, which comes from verbose, to print out detailed information about each USB port. There's a lot of information. Let's move on and see how to get information about the hard disks. You can run the same lshw command we've seen before with the -C and disk option, like this. Or to get a single line displaying each disk, run lshw -c disk -short. You can also run lsblk to display information about all block devices, including the hard disks and partitions. To get more information, including size, file system type, the number of sectors, and so on, run fdisk -l. Or fdisk -l and the name of the disk. For example, /dev sda. And it's displaying information only about this disk drive. With the help of fdisk command, you can view, create, resize, delete, change, copy, and move partitions on a hard drive using its own user-friendly text-based menu. Another very useful command is hdparm. This is used to get or set SATA drive parameters. For example, to get details about a specific SATA drive, run hdparm with the -I option and the drive as argument, /dev sda. This is the first hard disk drive, and this is the second one. To request identification information directly from the drive with more details, use -I instead of lowercase I. So I'm using the capital I option. hdparm can also be used to benchmark or check the performance of hard disks in Linux. For example, on this machine, there are two hard disks. SDA and SDB. SDA is an SSD drive, and this larger one is a classical SATA 3 drive. Let's test their performance and see the differences. Let's do a timing test and see the disk read speed. So hdparm -t -direct and the name of the disk file /dev sda. I'm hitting enter and waiting for the command to be done. These are the results for the first disk, the SSD1, and let's see the output for the second one, for SDB. By the way, ---- direct will bypass the page cache, causing the rigs to go directly from the drive into the hdparm command buffers. It's a so-called raw input-output, and -t means perform timing of device rigs for benchmarking and comparison purposes. And we notice that the SSD drive is much faster than the SATA one. It's almost 4 times faster. Okay, let's go on. To show information about the wireless devices, run IW list. There's a lot of output, so it's a good idea to pipe it to less. Most of the commands we've seen so far get the information from the files inside /proc, which is a virtual file system. You can always display the contents of those files to get specific information about the hardware components. For example, cat/proc CPU info will display information about the CPU, or cat proc meminfo will display information about the memory. There's also cat/proc partitions to see the disk partitions, or cat/proc version to see the version of the running kernel. By the way, there's also the uname command that's displaying the version of the running kernel. uname -r. This is the running kernel's version. You can also run uname -a to see more information. Finally, I'll show you a command that shows battery status and other information. This is useful if you are connected with SSH to a remote laptop and want to check if it works on battery or is connected to the AC power source. This tool is not included in Ubuntu, so I'm installing it. apt install lscpu. Okay, on my machine it was already installed. And to see the battery status, I'm running lscpi -bi. So my battery is full. And this is its design capacity. If you want to see everything the command can show, run it with the -V option, lscpi -V. That's all, thank you.